Preventive. Hello, all, welcome back to another video on Metasploit all the things. It's a continuous series for the course Advanced Network Exploitation Expert, and we are somewhere with the Metasploit all the things. We already completed our first basics and Venom and a few of the topics which is essential for the auxiliaries and other things. And what we're gonna focus for this entire video would be uh, to implement all the different enumeration or possible all the different enumeration against the different services. So let's get started in order to move ahead. First and foremost, we'll start our Metasploit, of course. I'll navigate to my folder, Preventive, Advanced Network Exploitation Expert, and Metasploit all the things. As usual, I'll start my Metasploit framework with MSFDB and run. Run will going to start database, and once started, it will move ahead with the other things like running Metasploit console and so on and so forth. With that being said, let's just navigate to different enumeration technique against the different services. And first and foremost, the service is FTP, where there is the first vulnerability or misconfiguration, I would say, is anonymous login. So Metasploit offers an auxiliary for the same. So let's just search for FTP anon. We might find some other related to the specific keywords, but we'll be focusing on this scanner. So I'll just use 0. I'll see what are the options, and it requires few of the options. The first here is FTP pass and FTP username. That is not really required because anonymous login is not something that we can only use anonymous as a username or something similar. We can also use Mozilla and few other alternatives to the same. And yeah, here we already have anonymous user set, and the password we can supply anything. It is not like we just have to specify anonymous. Again, we can supply anything basically. So our host is something required. I'll gonna set this our host to my target machine, which is 10.0.0.18. Our port is 21 here. Threads, I would go with the one. If you have multiple R host, which you can specify as you see here. However, I'll just focus on one. So yeah, thread 1 would be fair sufficient. So let's move ahead with run. It will run this particular auxiliary against a victim system. And here we go. What it says, it is vulnerable, and the permission we do have is read and write. The service version is also disclosed, and the host name here as well. So few information useful for our task, and yeah. So the next here, again, I'll move ahead with my enumerate all the things topic for the course. The next here, insecure ACL, we already know that we have this write access, so this already covers the same. So when we have a write access, we might write some files over the same in order to move or exploit it further, right? Dictionary attack, what it will gonna do, it will gonna brute force the FTP service. So let's just search for FTP brute. Oh, not the DTP, it's a typo. FTP brute, and should be there. FTP, this TFTP, not the FTP. Need to check FTP. Let's see what all the FTP related. FTP login probably. Yes, here we have. Perfect. Auxiliary scanner FTP login. What it will gonna do, it will gonna scan for authentication. So let's use 2. Perfect. The option it requires are the brute force speed. I'll go with the default, the R host. So what I'm gonna do, set G instead of set. So my target will be stable 10.0.0.18. Here I'll gonna specify a username, or I can also specify user pass file. This is something like username colon password. It's like a colon separated file. Or I can use user files and pass file. Here the password file and the user file. Here we can also specify this user as pass. What it will gonna do, it will specify username as a password. So let's just add set user. I'm gonna specify a b as a user. Set user name, it is b. Set password as bug, should be good. And set user underscore as pass equals to true. Now if I see all the different options and the filled values, it has the username, it has the password, it has specified. Now our host need to be specified. Set our host 10.0.0.18 options and should be good. Now if I just execute, it will gonna verify the different login. Perfect. And the one which worked here is with the b and bug. You can specify your username list and a password list, and you can move further. So most of the service, if you see over here, like SMB, SSH, WinRM, you just have to search for, let's say, WinRM login, and you might find this scanner or brute force or script. So I can even use that, execute it, and it will perform something similar to the Hydra. So I'm not gonna repeat this again and again, but you'll get a basic understanding. Moving ahead with the SMB, and here with the SMB, it checks for a null session or a guest session, and the directory or dictionary based attack, or the directory dictionary based attack. We will not gonna cover this dictionary based attack here because we already covered for FTP, so you can give it a try. It's the same, nothing different. Moving ahead with the SMB null or guest session, so I'm gonna search for SMB, and let's see what are the SMB. Probably SMB enum share or something, enum or SMB share. Here, perfect. The one here is with the auxiliary, so use 0 options, what it requires. So let's just specify the required details. First and foremost is our host, so set our host 10.0.0. I think it's 23 probably. Yeah, 23. So 23 is my victim machine, and the other things are pretty much default. I'll go with, and let's give it a try to run. It literally failed to log in on that particular SMB server. And what we can also give it a try, this is what I tried with the null session, right? So if I specify let's say a username, so let's say set SMB user as a test, or let's go with the anonymous, whatever you can specify, and let's give it a try to run. Perfect. With the guest session, it worked similar to here. So if I go against with the SMB map tool, this is a different Linux machine. Let's go with the Windows one. If I find back at SMB client, against it's a Linux, so it's a different machine. But yeah, what is main motto here is to understand. So what is guest session and null session? If you are not aware, navigate to this particular enumerate all the things for the SMB, and I have already explained the same. You can go to YouTube channel and find the appropriate section for the same. So there is a section for uh, this particular the playlist for this particular enumerate all the things topic, and from which you can find the SMB. Let's move ahead with the same. So yeah, we got to know that anonymous login or this guest session guest login works, and multiple folders are there, and in which the rob seems to be interesting because it is the disk and not the spatial one. Basically, the spatial one requires administrative access in order to access those. IPC is something that can be accessible, that might be accessible with the standard user, but other like C dollar and admin dollar is something for the administrative user. So again, navigate to this particular topic and you'll get a basic idea. With that being said, let's move ahead with other services. With the SSH, it just validates very few things, and it contains just a brute forcing against the users available on the destination system. So let's see if we can find something similar. So SSH search SSH user. There are so many. SSH user login, not the user. SSH login, here we have, and should be here. It's with the index value 10. So if I try give it a try, it will be same as how we did with the FTP, and let's just save our time in order to move ahead. So SSH, it just contains single enumeration, and that is nothing but validating your credential. The other things that you can validate with this particular SSH is you might find or enumerate the user. So if I search for SSH user enumerate or something, here auxiliary scanner SSH enum user. So if I give it a try to use, it requires few of the information. Of course, the first and foremost is our host. So set our host 10.0 0 dot whoops 0.0.18. Set username as b whoops b. Options, username is something we can provide. Our host is set, our port is set. By other things I'll gonna put as a default, so I'll not gonna go with that. And let's give it a try to run. What it says, the user be found. You can validate by setting a username which is like which you think that might not be present on the victim system, like 12345 6. This is quite not common username. So let's give it a try to run. If it shows that this user found, then it is possible that this is disclosing the false information, but no, it didn't return a true value, right? Means that this script works and you can give it a try. There are other actions, so you can just type show actions in order to find the different possible actions or possible ways, I would say. So you can set action to timing attack. It'd be good. And now if I set this username to be again and run, this can work or this can also fail. Perfect. This failed. This said no username with a B, but we know that B is the user there, right? You can always give it a try with the root, because root is the account which you find quite common in your Linux environment. With the Windows environment, administrator is the common one. Perfect. Moving ahead with the different service here. And the next service is WinRM. Of course, we know that WinRM is again the service that allows remoting and so on and so forth. And we will just going to use the brute forcer. So again, search WinRM login. You'll find this login and you can give it a try. Again, I'll not gonna move ahead with this login because we already done with the FTP. So moving ahead with the RDP. Again, RDP offers you other information, not just this particular brute forcing. So let's see if Metasploit offers anything similar. So RDP enum, RDP web login. No, this is not something will require. So let's just search for RDP auxiliary RDP. It will gonna display all the different RDP auxiliary. RDP scanner, what I'm gonna scan is speaking remote desktop protocol, some scanner for the RDP. We can of course give it a try. Some vulnerability checks. So this is something interesting but quite old, and my victim system won't be vulnerable against the same. Let's give it a try to use this one. So use one, options, set our host. I'm gonna specify the our host here, which is 10.0.0.23. Our port, I'll go with the default, and RDP domain, other things are pretty much fine. So let's just execute with the run. It says auxiliary complete, but nothing found. So this is possible that my victim system is not vulnerable though. But yeah, there are some RDP related auxiliaries. The alternative way through which you can find all the scanning possibility is just type auxiliary and RDP or whatever the service you have. Let's just give it a try to go with this third one, RDP scanner, and let's see what scanning it will gonna do. So client IP address seems to be weird. Okay, RDP client name, our desktop, RDP domain, RDP user, set our host n.0.0.23. Our port is fine. Client name, RDP, client IP seems to be good. Set RDP underscore client underscore IP as not the 0.100 but 10.0.0.170. Should be good. Let's give it a try to run. It validated probably the information like a domain name, FQDN, and the server information like OS version specific. If you go and check with this info, whoops, this info, you can validate whether it found the right information or not. It says 10.0.14393 14393. That is the right version. So yeah, this gives some information which might be helpful for you for your assessment. Moving ahead with the different service, and the next service here is SMTP. So the SMTP, again, it will gonna help you to enumerate the different users or send an email to the different or to your victim email address using that vulnerable SMTP or misconfigured SMTP server. So let's just give it a try. Search for, again, I'll just hit up arrow, search auxiliary related to SMTP. Here we have, and something that we are here, the user enumeration. The use 8 option, set our host, which is 10.0.0.18. Our port I'll keep as a default, and the word list I'll just go with the default again. So let's just run. It will gonna validate all the different users, and I might find root as the username. It's taking a little time, so what I'm gonna do, I'll just create one word list. Vim, let's say users, not here, cd pencil, any Metasploit all the things. Vim user dot txt. The first I'll gonna specify is root, second is b, and the third is 1 2 3 4 5 6. Let's remove this plus. Should be good. Options, I'll gonna specify this set user file from here. Slash root slash user, this users.txt. Options, everything is set. Let's give it a try to run. The user found within the SMTP service is the only B. But yeah, we get an idea that how this auxiliaries is being used. So moving ahead with the MySQL, the enumeration against MySQL also very limited to logging to that particular service. But let's see what are the different enumeration possible through this auxiliaries. So again, I'll search for auxiliary related to MySQL. It will list down all the different MySQL auxiliaries, and the one I'm interested are the scanners. The first one is writable directory. When you have the credential, it will gonna validate what are the writable directory. File enumeration hash terms are the different one. Schema dump is gonna dump all the table information and so on and so forth. This is something related to MySQL enumeration, but we'll just go for MySQL login for now. So use 9, which is MySQL login. Options, again, all the similar things. And what I'm gonna specify is our host 10.0.0.18 set user name. I'll gonna, if I want to specify the list, I can even go with that. So let's just specify list this time. The user file will be slash root slash robin and save ANEE and Metasploit all the things, and the user.txt. Options, set password. I'm gonna specify the right password, which is bug probably, and let's give it a try. I'm not sure the right password is bug or not, but just giving a try. Perfect. It said that the root and bug is the right username and password, and it managed to connect to the same. If I scroll up, there are the other enumeration scripts which I can give it a try. So let's see what this MySQL enum will gonna do. Again, I'm hitting Control C, use 8 instead of 9. Options, set our host 10.0.0.18, set username as root, set password as bug, and it'd be good. Let's give it a try. Perfect. So it started scanning. It found the version information, the data directory where all the data libraries and UDF, user defined function libraries, are stored under. Some password information, configuration, password configuration information, hashes of this particular MySQL database, and some other information like privileges. What are the privileges I do have, the current user do have? We have this file privilege we can write into, and yeah, those are the informative, really informative information. So moving ahead with the other services, but I think the video would be fairly long, so I'll gonna continue with this NFS, SNMP, MSSQL, HTTPS, and other summaries information as the next video, as a second part. Meanwhile, hope you learned something new against your Metasploit auxiliaries and the way we can search and give it a try. If you do like, hit that like button. If you wish to continue with this learning process against the OSCP certificate or something similar or equivalent to that, you can of course navigate to my gitbook .robensive.in, and you can hit this subscribe button, and when you do that, you'll get a notification icon which you can click in order to get the update. Usually I upload videos on Tuesday and Thursday. Somewhere I do miss out because of the work schedule, but yeah, I do apologize for the same. That's it, that's all for today. I'll see you next time.